Hello, my name is Kent Riske, R-I-E-S-K-E. I'm going to talk to you today about splitting logs safely. I'm not a professional at this, but I have had a little experience and I've got some equipment here I'll show you. And I want to explain how this is related to dietary fiber. A dietary fiber, big in the news, supplements, you should take it, don't forget, buy some, eat food with high fiber, so on. Well, that's not very good science. So we'll get into this. Okay, first of all, let me explain the equipment here. Everyone pretty much has seen a regular axe, single-bladed axe. You can see it's got a high taper to it, sort of like a knife blade. Axes are best to be used on green trees, live trees, for cutting because the narrow blade makes a deep slice. The next we have, by the way, a regular axe like this is not a very good tool for splitting logs. I'll explain why. This axe, I found this head on a broken handle in a campground in Utah that was thrown away by some construction workers. This is normally called a fireman's axe or a firefighter's axe. You can see it's got the standard axe blade, but it's got this big pry claw here, and the mechanical advantage on that is very great. You can pry things apart. I could be through my neighbor's fence here in no time with this. Firemen use this to fight fires in houses because they can tear down walls. This is the splitting maul that I used in a couple of previous movies. It's different than the axes. You see, it has these wings that come out on the side, both sides. When it goes into the log, it throws the log pieces to each side and splits them better, and tends not to get caught or stuck in the wood. But of course, it did get stuck in the wood when I used it on my previous video. It was about weight loss and weight gain, so I couldn't get it out without using a big pry bar. This is the log that did that. I have issues with this log. This is the head from a splitting maul. This is called a maul, M-A-U-L. I use this as a splitting wedge. Wedges are similar to this. Some wedges are triangle shape. Instead of being like a chisel, they're like a point, a four-sided point, pyramid point. Well, this is a log that I've got problems with. It came from the tree on the other side of the wall here, a locust. Had issues with the tree. Finally had a guy cut it down for me and ended up with these big logs. I've split and burned most of the small ones. But the first time I struck this log with the splitting maul, it got stuck. And then I came back on my second video that I made about type 2 diabetes, how to prevent and treat type 2 diabetes. I hit the log a few more times, and all I did was make a bunch more splits because I was unable to hit the same mark twice in a row. So one point about safety, little instruction on axes in general. Children should not be allowed to handle an axe and split wood, because what they do, they tend to stand upright, split like this. Something goes wrong, because it always does, glances off the wood splits unevenly, and they end up hurting their feet. Well, I have all my toes, so I'm not a professional, but I've got all my toes. So Children need close supervision and maybe wait until they're teenagers, say 13 or so, before you let them get into this kind of dangerous stuff. So set this out of the way, and this one. What we're going to do first, put on safety equipment. Gloves are great. Well, put on the eye protection first. Then my gloves. So let me show you where these cracks are. I've got a crack running right across here that runs towards this side. I've got another crack going down this way, and I've got about 5 or 6 marks in here where I tried to hit it. This is where I got my splitting maul stuck. So what we're going to do is put this wedge in here to begin with. Now the beauty about this, by the way, another safety feature, you can see this is all rounded off here. You shouldn't pound high tensile strength steel with other steel, because it splinters and shoots splinters of steel like a bullet. So this steel is always malleable and soft like this. So a nice thing about the splitting wedge is you don't have to hit it real hard. You can work your way in. Now compared to the big whacks I took on my other videos, you can see I've hardly given this any effort, and I've got a wide crack forming already. It's making a lot of creaking sounds, a lot of cracking sounds, and you can see how effective this is. Now this job is easier than I thought. When I tried to split it with the maul, I couldn't get to split at all. And with the wedge, it's very easy. Well, how does this log, what's the relationship between this log and your diet and your supplements? Well, I talk about dietary fiber in my book. This is my book here. And the fiber in this tree is cellulose fiber. Now, what some people don't realize is cellulose is molecules of glucose or D-glucose, or sometimes called dextrose, all chained together in very long chains of thousands of molecules in a chain, and they're cross-linked. And it's called polysaccharides, the larger molecules. Well, they tell us dietary fiber. In fact, you can go on the internet and find dietary cellulose fiber. In other words, they want you to eat a tree. So is that healthy? Well, they claim that you don't digest that, which is true, but they claim that it doesn't ferment, which is false. They use trees to make paper, and goats just love eating paper because they ferment the cellulose. The fiber turns into cellulose, and that provides them energy in the fermentation process. But humans don't digest food that way. Now you can buy my book directly from me. You can go on the internet at the website. Let me show you that. It's exaltpublishing.com. And the price for this paperback